Hey everyone, it's Griff Hamlin here. I'm here with Marty Schwartz today from GuitarJams.com.
Hello there.
Turns out Marty and I don't live too far apart.
This is true.
We didn't know this until several months ago. For those of you who remember the Play Crossroads competition.
That's right.
But anyway, so I happen to be doing some stuff today. The place where I shoot my videos is not too far from Marty's place, so he came up and we're hanging out today, and we got to talking about the emails that we both get.
Yes.
Obviously, you know, a lot of the people who subscribe to my emails also subscribe to Marty's and vice versa. So we get a lot of the same email questions and stuff. So we're trying to kind of, you know, give you the two-pronged attack here. You know, get both of our opinions on these subjects. So
why not?
One of the biggies is bar chords. How you play them, how you make them come out. I get a lot of, I literally get emails that go so far as to say, can I play blues without playing bar chords?
Right.
Because they make you so mad. And so so I'm gonna let Marty go first and kind of give his 2 cents on the best way to get a bar chord to actually come out, or the best way to attack them, I guess. You know, how do you teach them?
Well, I do find that I mean, there's some things actually about electric guitar that I think are harder than acoustic guitar. One being all the extra noise, you know. So that's one thing. But I would say that a bar chord to actually voice is probably easier on an electric guitar.
Yeah,
I mean that's fair to say.
Thinner strings. Yeah.
But you know, acoustic or electric, I would approach it the same way. You know, I don't know what. There's going to be a lot of different levels that might watch this video. But the first thing I would say is really just, you know, knowing your notes on the E string and the A string really well is actually a big part for me on the bar chords because of the concept of how to plug in a chord.
Right,
you
how
know,
to move around.
Yeah. And so I think of it this way: if I find the root on the E string, you know, like for instance an A note on the E string, since I found my root on the E string, I'm going to plug in an E-looking shape. So
right.
E root, E shape. So if I want A major, then I'm going to plug in this E major looking shape.
Right. Now, when you play a bar chord, what I think a lot of people struggle with is just physically getting the notes to come out.
Totally.
You know, we get a lot of, you know,
Totally.
these kind of stuff.
Yeah,
so.
I'm definitely going there.
Okay,
and I know, I mean, that is definitely the struggle, right? But I'd say conceptually, you know, an E root, an E shape. So you got the E major shape, got the E minor shape. Find a root on the A string, you play the A major shape. I use one finger. Do you do it that way?
I use one finger too.
Yeah. So you do that way, or an A minor shape, and that looks like A minor. And so, you know, just with that basic concept, I think is real, you know, super important. But let's say you're playing a beginner song and you come across the B minor.
Right. Okay.
That would be your, you know, maybe a, you know, especially people that learn easy songs with like a capo.
Right.
They're still probably going to come across
that one.
that B minor chord.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. I have a very basic tip that I tell people to practice, because one thing is you just got to build up the strength, and that means actually practicing the chord. Some
Right.
people just avoid them because they've tried it that one time and they haven't put the time in to get a little bit better every time.
Right.
So part of the problem is avoiding it. You're never going to get better at bar chords unless you actually practice the bar chord. And people might not even realize that that's what they're doing, that they're just completely avoiding it. But here's what I would say. One, we take this B minor chord. You've got the bar across. I think of it not the flat part of my finger here, but more the side ridge. It's the hardest part. And I got plump little sausage fingers, so it's nice to find a little spot where there's actually bone showing.
Sure, I hear you.
So we do that, you know.
Sausage man.
Yes. So we do that. So and I'm squeezing really hard between my thumb and my index finger. And so I'm pressing down here. Okay. Another thing that I've found that helps is this, you see my elbow's kind of out like this. That's probably not a good thing with my finger diagonal like that.
Right.
I like to get my finger parallel with the fret, and you find your elbow kind of coming in towards your rib cage a bit when you do that. And then I form the shape. Now here's the method that I tell students, and it tends to help people, or at least gives them something to try. I do this. I say, okay, one time practice the bar chord where you bar it first, then you form the shape and strum it. And you know, if it sounds crappy, you're not getting all the notes, fine. You tried it.
Right.
Good try.
Yeah.
Right? Then the next time, form the shape first. And this is something I made up on my own. I mean, I don't know, you know, any method that this comes from, but I just find that it helped me.
Yeah.
So I do the shape first, then the bar. And what I think that does maybe is it gets your physicality into the right spot.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you're like, okay, is my bar right? And then your shape looks bad.
Right.
So okay, my shape's right. Can I get my bar right?
Right.
And so I think if sometimes you do the bar first and the shape, then the shape first and followed by the bar, and if that's a good way to at least tackle it, because you're like, sometimes you're focusing on how good is my bar,
Right.
and sometimes you're focusing on how good is my shape, and then eventually I always say they come together in a Voltron.
A vortex?
Yeah, no, I think Voltron because you've got the cat beasts forming into a giant robot. But I find that the strength starts to come from the squeezing and the shapes coming together, and both of those things come together, and it tends to help people. But the main thing I think is just you're never going to get better at bar chords unless you try them. And I always tell my students, if it sounds like muddy or just do it anyway. Like play through the progression with that one chord sounding bad.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, good.
Absolutely.
I know
we
teach a lot of the same stuff, so it's cool. But
it's funny that you do that, because I always teach it. I'll say from the other way, which is like if we're taking the B minor, what I would say is first put the third, fourth, and second, third, and fourth fingers down, and what I do is then if you pluck those strings one at a time. Say the fourth, and then the third, and then the second. Okay, well, if those three notes don't come out, then you're not in the right position.
Right. Yeah.
Because really, this is gonna make you mad when I say it's just not that hard. but this is the cruel joke of guitar playing, which is when you first start out, you don't have enough hand strength to do a bar.
Yeah.
As your hand gets stronger, you gain technique, and you don't need the strength anymore. So, it's kind of a drag, but that's the way it works out.
Yeah.
So, once I have these three fingers in place and those notes come out, there's no way I could put that first finger that would be wrong, because the way my hand is shaped, it can't help but go in the right place.
Right.
So then what I say is, put your first finger down on the root string, which in this case is the fifth string, and see if you've then got the fifth, fourth, third, and second. Okay, well now I've got those, and I'm playing 3 doors down.
Yeah.
No, sorry. I can't play that arpeggio without finishing that song. It's like the Come Sail Away thing from South Park. So I do that, and then now the top string, okay, it might not happen, but you know what? That sounds just fine.
Yeah.
That's a perfectly good chord right there. So even if maybe I don't quite have the bar yet, well, those 4 strings make up 80% of that chord, and I don't even need the bar for that. And in fact, if I was playing a B major and I was doing this thing, I wouldn't hit that string anyway.
Yeah, I don't.
So you can do the same thing. Like if I wanted to do it on F sharp, I just take these fingers and move them down. Well, again, if I place these 3 and then I put this one down, I may get 4 and then I may get 2 clunkers, but you know what? I can play a chord. I can play a song. And I can play that all day long without actually getting the bar right.
Yeah, sure.
And it works, and it'll get me through. And okay, then sometimes I can try and finagle that and get those to come out. Maybe take a few minutes and practice it.
Well, I don't know, man.
Just saying.
That's pushing it.
I'm just saying,
We'll talk about that B major chord, because that's like the hardest one.
Yeah, this is the hardest one, and this is the last one I would try to do.
Me as well.
Learn the E shape, learn the A minor shape. It's kind of tough to do the E minor shape. It's an F sharp minor, but we call it an E shaped chord. But this root on the 6th string, that's a little bit of a trick, and you'll notice that in order to make that come out, I really do have to get the bar in place, and so I actually use my middle fingers pushing down on there too. And yeah, you can see my elbows all twisted in, and sometimes I end up kind of leaning over my guitar like this. When I used to do a lot of classical stuff, and you get these really crazy bars where you have to do like this, all this kind of stuff, and yeah, I'm like leaning over here trying to do it. Get your body into it, whatever works, and so I will do that. When it comes to doing this one, again, I get the third one in place. But what most people do wrong is they do it like this, and they bend that knuckle the wrong way. I say it's like pushing a button, where when I push down, I don't know how to show this on the camera, but when I push down, that knuckle bends
I
backwards.
got a good one for you. Sorry to break your train
No.
of thought. How many people tell you their finger doesn't do that?
Doesn't go that way. Yes, it's not a, okay, yeah. See, I'm a freak and my finger bends backwards, but it doesn't have to.
I know.
The key is not that it will do that. It's that you try to do that, because what that does is that puts the pressure on the right part of the knuckle. So even if your finger won't bend that way, let's say it stops here, that's okay because you're putting pressure on that
I think it's that
inside.
inner voice.
It is. It's the guy. It's the little guy that's sitting right there. That says you can't do this.
Exactly.
So when you hear that little guy, you turn on this video and you have Marty and me saying you can
do
do
it.
this.
Yeah, you definitely
can do
can.
this.
You definitely can. But yeah, I would teach that one at the very
See,
end.
yours goes backwards too. You're weird.
You mean like that?
See your third finger bends backwards.
I can go like that.
Okay. See.
I just do whatever makes it sound right for my hand. You know what I mean? But,
Exactly.
But yeah, it's definitely not
It ain't gonna be that.
bending. Yeah, no, not at all. Not at all. And I actually, you've probably seen guys.
I've seen guys do that. I can't do that.
I can't either.
I can do that like once, but that hurts
Yeah, I
for
don't
me.
like it.
That ain't gonna work.
And I do, I see guys do
Unless
that.
I'm doing a weird sharp 11 and then I'm actually doing. I actually use my middle finger for that bar.
Oh, that one, yeah.
So
Oh,
for
yeah,
all the
right.
Joe Satriani fans,
Yeah, the rock
Lydian
out guys
stuff.
love that Lydian,
the Lydian sound.
especially Vi. Like he'll do a whole very Lydian, very Lydian. But anyway, no, you can cut that part out.
I'll take
We're off topic. But yeah. So one thing I guess for that B major chord, playing it as G major is easier.
You get it up higher.
Higher up, it's a little easier to
Yeah, it is.
voice. So that's something to think about. But yeah, I think those are there's only so many.
There's only so many tips you can say. The main thing is you gotta, like Marty says, you gotta practice it. You gotta just play the tune. If a song's got a bar chord in it, you just gotta play it and you play through it. And if it sounds lousy, well, okay, go back and practice it a couple times after you played the tune.
And I think a song with like one bar chord in it is good.
Don't
that's
try
what
to
I
do
did.
Hotel California on the first day.
Exactly. Yeah, I was about to say that actually. And there's other reasons not to do Hotel California as well, but
Right.
but I'll talk about that off camera. Just one in there. Get one in there.
Yeah. In fact, that G, that chord progression, if you need one to practice on, G, D, B minor, C.
There you go. You got him.
All right, guys, that's probably enough. See ya.